I loved the interplay with Becky and Warren Buffett this weekend. And his discussion, very candid discussion about the airlines. If the airlines are fundamentally changed, what that really says is, in Buffett's eyes, what that really says is there are a lot of industries that are fundamentally changed. I keep coming back to that moment. What was Gary Kelly said to us? Well, if there's nothing to go to, why should the airlines do well? Had he said, look, I have to stick by the airlines because there's going to be a recovery and they're the ones that are most oriented, I might have influenced my thinking, but I felt like he verified a lot of what David and I are hearing, which is that, guys, please, if you think that we're just going to come back, you've got it really wrong. And maybe they're doing some they're doing some under-promising. But then you layer it on with the president, who is so, I believe, over-promising. And I'm not fake news. I'm just listening to every single CEO, with the exception of Moderna, that really believes in the drug industry that we can do vaccines at scale. So I feel like that Buffett's overview on airlines really does make me very concerned about the near term.
Yeah, and as a backdrop, of course, Buffett has a long history in having his thinking evolve when it comes to the airline business. U.S. Air back in the 90s left a rather sour taste in his mouth about that. He came around to them in the last 5 or 10 years, and he talked about what he called a mistake over the weekend. Take a listen.
The airline business, and I may be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong, but I think it changed in a very major way, and it's obviously changed in the fact that the 4 companies are each going to borrow, perhaps an average of at least 10 or 12 billion each. Well, you have to pay that back out of earnings over some period of time. I mean, you're 10 or 12 billion dollars worse off if that happens, and of course, in some cases, they're having to sell stock or sell the right to buy a stock at these prices, and that takes away from the upside down. And I don't know whether 2 or 3 years from now that as many people will fly as many passenger miles as they did last year. They may and they may not. But the future is much less clear to me about how the business will turn out through absolutely no fault of the airlines themselves.
So I thought that was devastating. I mean, remember, Southwest Air was able to sell 70 million shares, at $28.50. And United Airlines sold 39.35 at $26.50. So, I mean, those are critical levels. And the fact that he went on to say there's just no reason to own them, so what's the point of just selling some of them, made me say I think that they very much are a microcosm of a big chunk of the U.S. economy, not the world economy in some cases, as he said. And I came away thinking the longer-term story of comeback is very much in play, and that's not a lot of analysts thinking. I mean, even this morning, only Dow Chemical at Bank of America talking about a longer-term decline. Most of the analysts are just trying to figure out whether it's going to be a V or a U still. I mean, the discussion that Warren Buffett had indicates that it's if anything, a very elongated U or an L. And I know those things are shorthand, and a lot of people at home might say, what are you talking about? He just gave you, how about this? No hope near term. Anybody agree with that?